What's up, YouTube? Hopefully you guys traded safe today. What a move on NQ and gold, both over in the overnight and also in the New York session. If this is your first time kind of following and tuning in, please drop a like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. I do want to talk about the things that I will touch on. I am going to touch on a trade that I took on gold overnight during the Asia London session. I took that on my Topstep account. And then I want to talk about the New York trade where I took on options. Okay. And so although there were other trades to be taken as well, I obviously I don't want these videos to be too super long. So those are going to be the two selected ones that I'll talk about. And they're ones that I also posted in the Discord during the time as I was executing those trades. Okay. And I'm going to provide a little bit of narrative of overall what I felt on the day and some psychology around the overarching New York session. So let's dive straight into this. So the first thing was gold. So we obviously had a very, very large move, as you can see in the overnight. Probably the largest move I've ever seen, to be honest, since I've been trading on gold over a short period of time. I know that this would have caught a lot of people really trying to chase trades and all that type of stuff, right? I actually know some students that actually took advantage of really just scalping off the VWAP, which is, again, when you know whether you're going to be trading the range or the trend, I think either way there's an edge to that as well. So obviously kudos to anyone who had either caught any piece of that at all, because honestly, good work, right? Now, for me, as I was looking at this, I was kind of looking to see, because I really like the way that we sharp V'd up here on the VWAP. And I was looking to see if we would tag the high of day session over the Asia. I wasn't at my desk. I didn't have all my time frames up. So I don't like taking trades when I can't see the bigger picture. So I kind of just left out on that. Now, I was preparing for one of my one-on-ones with one of my students from Germany. We were going to trade the London session together. So I was kind of taking a look at this going into the London session already and shorting gold. And what made me want to do this is because after we double topped the day over here, as we continue to move right back down, I was looking for us to continue this lower high trend down to test the VWAP. Was essentially what I was looking for again. Now, obviously, in hindsight, you can see that the chart moved much further than that. But again, I'm not looking to catch the whole move. I'm very happy just catching a piece of the pie. And so when I was looking at the chart, I can see, and I'm going to note two things. First and foremost, I like the lower highs that we were making coming into the this period of time. And on multiple time frames, things were starting to look pretty good from a shorts perspective. This was actually a fairly tight trade. I usually don't shoot for this much of an R multiple, but I just, based on the way that the setup worked, I baked in my risk and my reward based on what structure was telling me, and also taking into account the range on the overarching Asia session. So for me, I actually took my short entry on that candle right there, not at the start of it, but basically near the end of it is where I entered. So I ended about right here at 5581.2, I think it was. Let me double check. Yes, it was 55.81. I had to look at my Discord just to make sure. And I had a stop loss up here. And so as I entered this trade, you can see that the candles were wicking over and over again, so, which kind of just showed that, but the entry point that I had was a pretty solid one, all things considered. This is the one that really got me on edge here, because you can see here, I'm gonna try to zoom in as much as I can. I was so close to getting wicked out on this, right? Actually, before we had that continuation move. And I know, sometimes it sucks if you did get ticked out and the move happened after. It's probably one of the worst feeling ever. And I actually did mention this in the Discord, that this was like a nail biter. But really glad that I was able to catch this. I essentially risked about 3.8 points on this trade. And was it 3.8 point? Actually, you know what? Sorry. I just realized it is right here. So I'm going to note this. And so right now, it basically, if you can see, it just tagged that spot. And so on Topstep, you'll see that I actually missed this by like a millitech, I guess. And so I dodged that bullet somehow. But that was a risk of 3.6 points. And I managed to catch 24 points. So obviously you do the math, that's an 8R trade. I don't really talk about R multiple all too much. Not that I don't put too much eggs in the basket, but I think that sometimes R multiple can be quite subjective depending on how you're risking and what have you, right? But anyways, I don't want to dive into that one too much, because that's not kind of the purpose of what I'm trying to share here today. But that was a solid gold trade that I caught. So that was worth $2,000 on one mini short. So Topstep's already pretty much primed and ready for another payout. I just gotta take a couple of $150 short trades, or not short trades, sorry, $150 hits for the next couple of days, and I'll be primed for a max payout on that account. Now, Coming into the New York session now, I wanted to talk about NQ actually. Oh, sorry. I do not. Before I move away from the gold, just to talk about gold one last time. The other thing as well I want to highlight was this with the for you guys following, you guys already know the FF indicator is like a proprietary developed indicator. It's part of actually the Discord that I'm partaking in and I'm the moderator in. But the owner basically created this, and so this was another thing that made it nice for a short was that the way that we retested. So where I entered pretty much right beneath the trigger line. So we broke below the trigger line. We retested on the 5 minute. And even that candle that almost wicked me out, it also tagged the trigger line. And from there, we pretty much melted down. So a really solid setup from a 1, 2, 3 perspective to the downside, which is like a very key pattern that the owner, Scott, really loves with the FF indicator. Now, jumping into the New York session here, give me 1 second here. I was not up for this. Actually, because I was up fairly late with my student. I didn't even trade the opening New York, and I don't know if I would have like really caught much of this. The only trade that I would have seen me take would have been this lower high test of my area of interest. Would have been the trade that I would have taken, and I did know that one of my students caught this. I think I tagged it on Instagram already. She caught a 100-point move to the downside, which is solid. I know a lot of trades like this creates a lot of FOMO, and I think for you guys have been following me for long enough, you guys will know this will happen time and time and time again. There will always be other moves, and so I would say that as a trader who's been through this a fair share, I don't have as much FOMO for missing stuff like this, and I'm pretty calm and collected coming into these kind of days. By the time I got to the market, we were already consolidating in this area, so I kind of just left it be. What caught my interest, though, really was the way that we double bottom here at my area of interest of 25,559.50. I like the double bottom. We also have price action forming on multiple time frames, giving me a consensus. And if you read Bar by Bar by Al Brooks, you'll know there are a lot of different ways that you can look for reversal patterns, and this kind of was one of those setups that I liked. I entered in my QQQ options, 623 call, 0 date expirations right here. And this was a spot that I tagged as well that I posted on the Discord during the moment that this trade was happening, that had you not taken my entry, this would have been the next clean entry, just in the sense of where we had a nice potential higher low here off the 664 AOI. If you've been following along my journey, I have talked about this area of interest so many times. So another solid potential entry. I know quite a few of my students actually caught this long entry here on futures, which was a solid banger because you basically from here on up, you could between 100 to 200 points, a solid trade that was presented there. I, for myself, trimmed my contracts for 80% of my position at 40% here. And then again, I closed it out at 100% for the remaining runners. And the reason why for me is that like, yeah, reversal plays are nice. And I know sometimes we can have expectations to catch larger moves. I had my reasons for why I wanted to trim there and why I wanted to close there based on the way that I sized my risk, sized my positions, and how I trimmed and everything. It all plays into how I trade and what I like to do to protect me on the downside, but help me capitalize on the markets, right? So all things considered, still a very solid trade. I think by the end of it, this trade warranted me a little over $2,000, $2,500 in cash, basically, because it's options, so it's self-funded, which was a really solid day, right? I even if you didn't make 2,000, even if you made $500, that's huge, man. You make $500 in a day, that's solid, right? So for me to have been able to capture that move today, really happy with that. Really happy with my execution, all things considered. You guys know I like to talk about the 200 EMA a lot. You can see here again, as we continue to move upwards, we pretty much consolidated beneath the 200 EMA for a while before we had that last half an hour, power hour move to the upside. So I actually have a set of small swings. I think it was 625 calls or 624. I'd have to double check again. But I have a small, very sized Brazil trade position swinging overnight. So we'll see. If we get a nice continuation to the upside, then it's going to look good because I know at the close of the day, my contracts were worth 130%. So we'll see where it goes. Again, their size was 0. So I'm expecting that if it doesn't work out, it goes to 0. I'm good with that. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of like my overview on the overall given day and trade. I will try to continue to provide updates as you guys have been following along. I did lock in my Lucid Black account. I locked in the first payout and then the second payout, which I hit the bonus modifier, which meant I got a $3,000 payout. So if you've been following Instagram, I already posted there. You know what that is. I'm not gonna keep posting about it over and over again because I also want to obviously add value in other areas. But I want to at least share that journey in the same way that I shared the M&Q series journey when I traded with Topstep. I don't even know how long ago anymore. But if you follow my YouTube channel, you'll see that. Definitely I recommend if you haven't seen it already. Other than that, right now we got about like 2 days left until the end of the week here. If there are any serious traders out there looking to really refine their craft and work with a mentor, and again, not just a class, but a mentor with trading, reach out. We'll see what we can do. If I'm the right fit for you, you're the right fit for me. We can try to lock you in before we actually start our mentorship, which starts in just a week and a half from now. So with that, thanks for tuning in. I will catch you guys then next time.